Jar Jar Binks set to make an appearance in Rise of Skywalker? I'm just kidding. Before you mute us, welcome to the first ever episode of Star Wars News brought to you by Popcorn Talk. We're talking all things Star Wars. Rian Johnson is he or is he not making more Star Wars movies? Princess Leia was supposed to be the last Jedi, and we're taking an exclusive look inside The Mandalorian. Stay right there.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movie.
Welcome to the ship! Welcome to Star Wars News. We are so excited. What a week to be talking about our favorite franchise. Amped! Before I get into what we're discussing, let me introduce me and my co-pilot. I'm Steph Sabraw, aka Chewbacca's daughter, long-lost daughter, hairy and charismatic, just like my father.
Yes.
Huge Star Wars fan. Throughout the weeks, you'll get to know a little bit more about me and my co-pilot, Ryan Nilsen.
Thank you, Rilo Ren.
aka Rilo Ren.
AKA Rilo Ren.
He dabbles with the dark and the light.
I know, I'm going back and forth.
Yeah, we just don't know.
The forces are pulling me on each side. So excited to talk about Star Wars news. This has been in development for a minute.
And
we're here.
But we were like, it would be such BS if we didn't get on the mic to talk about all the things happening, especially in anticipation of The Mandalorian and Rise of Skywalker, because holy cow. But this week we have Rian Johnson and his future with Star Wars. Is he or is he not making more movies? We don't know. There's a bunch of speculation going on. We're going to break down what is out there, what's rumor, what is fact.
And guys, I am in the live chat.
Yes.
So all you younglings out there, all you Star Wars fans, comment there. I'll shout you out. We're so excited for our episode 1 of Star Wars News. Steph and I are just going to nerd out with y'all. So please share your thoughts of these news stories and The Mandalorian in the live chat.
Yes. And then after that, we'll be talking about Bob Iger, and he is reiterating his sentiment that less Star Wars is more, to each their own. We'll break down his quote. He kind of re-explained himself in a way that made me feel better about what I think he meant to say.
Right.
J.J. Abrams had originally planned on having Princess Leia as the last Jedi. Wow.
Fascinating.
Really, really interesting.
And that was today, so we'll really get into that.
And then, like I said, we're taking an insider's look at The Mandalorian. So we're really going to be taking a look into the creative team and breaking down the last trailer that was dropped during the Mayans.
Ooh.
And I know Ryan's we've been geeking out. We are also, our sister network, AfterBuzz TV, has an after show for The Mandalorian. So we will also be on that panel breaking down each episode every single week, where you can also join us there to talk all things The Mandalorian. But
it's coming, y'all. It is coming next week.
I am so excited. After we break down our news topics, we have some special segments. Ryan's going to tell us about those.
Very special segments coming at the end of the show, starting with There's a Theory, where we put on our Poindexter glasses and we talk about some of the biggest theories going on in this galaxy far, far away, as well as Character Corner. You know, Star Wars is such a huge universe, Steph, that even a background extra has a backstory that is bigger than our own. So we'll be highlighting a random character in that, and then we'll close out the show with some words of wisdom.
Because Star Wars is just always providing words of wisdom.
Forever and ever.
So awesome. Can't wait for those. Let's dive right in. Rian Johnson, he says that he's still in talks for more Star Wars, and that the angry Last Jedi tweets actually helped inspire his newest film, Knives Out.
Knives Out.
I know you weren't as big of a hater of The Last Jedi as others.
Right.
But are you a fan of Rian Johnson regardless?
I'm a huge fan of Rian Johnson. Ever since his work on Breaking Bad, 2 of the best episodes in the series on that. And then Looper was amazing. So when he got on Last Jedi, I was obviously really excited. Divisive film, mixed reactions to say the least. But
that is the Star Wars fan franchise. Like the fandom, like you hate it or you love it, and it's always a mixed bag. I think for us, we really like whatever's put out there. Most of the time, it wasn't perfect, but we still liked it.
Exactly. And I think right before Last Jedi came out, it was said he's supposed to have a trilogy of films that was unrelated to these episodes, the Skywalker saga, which we got really excited for. But after the divisive reactions and, you know, it's been kind of quiet. I think it's funny that his movie's called Knives Out, because that's what a lot of the fans were doing in response to Last Jedi. They had those knives out.
Yes.
But what's really interesting is this quote. I mean, in an interview, he said, "Yeah, we're still engaged. Lucasfilm, we'll see what happens." I think he has to say that. He's on press for Knives Out right now. He's not going to drop a bomb saying it's not happening.
Well, yeah, not a good look for him to be like, nah, I messed up so bad we're not in talks anymore.
And I mean, it's up in the air. I think I really hope he does still get these films, but I just don't know if I really do. Since I was a fan of Last Jedi, I would love to see what an auteur like Rian Johnson can do, detached from the episodes from the Skywalker saga. So I hope we end up getting those movies. I just don't think we're going to find out for a few months, just because he's not going to say that while he has a new film coming out. Similar to when Ben Affleck, he didn't say he was out of the Batman while his film Live by Night, I think, came out. Like he kind of waited for that to come out, be in theaters for a little bit, and then he announced that.
I'm glad that announcement came. Moving on to the rumor about Rian Johnson. Shade is being thrown. It will continue to be thrown.
Yeah.
But an article from Bounding into Comics said there's a rumor out from someone named TiVo at Lords of the Long Box, says he has a source at Black Knight, and they said, according to several inside sources, Rian Johnson's proposed Star Wars trilogy is dead at Lucasfilm, and continued saying, after the mixed reaction of The Last Jedi from fans, Johnson's future with the franchise has been cast in doubt. When there is smoke, there is fire, it seems.
Fire.
What do you think? These are just rumors, or
Jeff,
is this a source?
I have a sound drop in the soundboard that's titled "Rumor" for Star Wars. I'm just curious if you can click that one.
Here we go, guys. This is the big unveil of the rumor sound drop. Come on, Here we go.
We'll see what happens.
Ooh, there it is.
Oh, and that mysterious voice that you hear right now is our producer, Jeff Graham. He is
He knows nothing.
He knows nothing, but knows everything about film, and he's a great creative.
Yes.
Star Wars, not so much, but we love having that.
He's
we
like
love
Jon
that.
Snow in that way. Like he's very knowledgeable, but he knows nothing.
Big film guy, not necessarily the biggest Star Wars person. It's not that I don't like it. It's just that I think part of it's if you grow up in a family that loves Star Wars, you get inundated. I grew up in a family that loves Harry Potter, so Wizarding World all day. But
yeah, you can be both.
You can,
You can be both, Jeffrey C. Graham, but Jeff's in the booth, and we would not want anyone else driving.
We like that.
Yeah, we like that.
So, from a business perspective, though, if you're calling the shots on the creative direction of the trilogy, you still would go with Rian Johnson from business, not from your fan perspective.
From business, I would be considering moving in another direction. However, the one thing for a business perspective, there's been some shakeups with a few directors already for Star Wars, and this would be another one. He was given a trilogy that report came out. There was even a bit on Kimmel where he says, "Oh yeah, I'm writing the next few films." Like, they have put this on TV. It is confirmed that he was doing these movies, so they would have to cancel 3 movies again. This would be another project that they would scrap, and it would just be from the reaction. Now, I mean, Last Jedi was super successful, really successful movie. I think just with the tone of the past few projects, they're in this kind of up in the air mood right now. And I really actually think this is going to depend on the success of The Mandalorian and Rise of Skywalker. If those 2 films can get the majority of the fans back in the positive light of Star Wars, then I think they're willing to take now what's considered a risk on Rian Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, it's so crazy that it is considered a risk because he is one of the best that we have in the industry right now. But it's true, and we've talked about this, that there has been a bunch of drama in terms of signing new people on to Star Wars, and they haven't really gotten a hold of what is working and what's not working with the new generation of Star Wars fans.
Right.
So I don't really know how I feel about it. I always think that there is an extreme amount of talent all around the world, extremely talented. All around the galaxy. Yeah, all around the galaxy. Directors, writers, all of that. So do we need to try the same person just to try it? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for spreading the wealth.
Yeah.
Get some more people in there. They just dropped the Game of Thrones, did Benioff and Weiss last week for a trilogy. So yikes on that front. I just don't know if they're going to. I don't know if we're going to get confirmed news for a few weeks just because of this new film. And I would like to see Rian Johnson. I love Rian Johnson. And I really do think giving him the keys to just a completely original story and not necessarily being locked down by like constraints of the Skywalker saga and these episodes and characters we're familiar with. I mean, I think a lot of people's problems with Last Jedi was what decisions he made with beloved characters that we all really like. And I think if he just had a fresh slate, this might be an opportunity to give him that. And maybe it's Disney Plus. I think it's all going to depend on these future projects coming up and if people like them.
It's true. I also think I'm so focused on Rise of Skywalker and The Mandalorian that I don't need to know these answers right now. I just want to have a great series on Disney Plus and a great final movie to close out the best family that ever lived.
As Yoda says, patience.
I am not. Well, I'm working on my patience, okay? I'm working on it.
We're all working on it.
So that's interesting. We'll just have to wait and see.
What have we got?
Moving on, Bob Iger. So he had recently made a statement that there was too much Star Wars and they kind of fumbled the bag and needed to slow down. And he wanted to kind of go, he got re-asked about that. And he said, I have said publicly that I think we made and released too many Star Wars films over a short period of time. I've not said that they were disappointing in any way. I've not said that I'm disappointed in their performance. I just think that there's something so special about a Star Wars film and less is more. Do you agree, Ryan?
Less
Nilsen?
is more. Steph Sabraw?
You think?
I think so. I mean,
was that a question or a statement?
That's a statement. Less is more, but I'm a very fan.
Me too.
I want all the Star Wars. I want Mandalorian yesterday, you know? I want the Disney XD animated. I want a movie in theaters at every weekend. I want everything. But I do see what he means when it comes to business. And less is more. I think Solo came way too quick after Last Jedi.
Yeah, I think that was a subtweet at Solo and not much else but that. Solo is kind of like the scarlet mark on Star Wars right now.
That's
and
Scarlet Letter.
Scarlet mark.
Solo.
Please.
Just a rebel badge. Yeah, I think it really is, isn't it? 5 months after Last Jedi.
It's too quick. I do think, I don't not agree with him. I think Star Wars is such a special franchise that why not make fans wait? But it's also like whatever you put out, we want to see.
It's guaranteed. Well, we would say it's guaranteed box office. But with Solo, it was kind of a unique scenario where they had all this production drama that made the budget really high, and it wasn't guaranteed box office. They lost money. I think, Star Wars fans, they've been through the grind with just decades of no Star Wars in terms of like movies and TV. And now that we have it, now that Disney's churning it out and we're so used to Marvel movies every 3 or 4 months, why can't that be Star Wars? I think we're getting there, but I think they kind of jumped the gun, like you were just saying like a year ago with Solo. They were just like, all right, let's just put it out there. And they didn't really know what they were going for with that movie. And now The Mandalorian, it's been a year and a half since we had another Star Wars thing on screen, and we're hyped.
Yeah.
It's Disney Plus. So yeah, less is more. The anticipation is so high. It's going to be really successful.
I agree. And I think that Star Wars is moving more in a direction of the MCU, which has clearly nailed it. Whatever they're doing, everyone else should be doing. And I think the problem with Star Wars is that we were focused on one family and one lineage for decades. And although we had animated series and games and all these things that introduced new characters, that was for the real fans.
Yeah.
Most fans that just watch the movies don't know about all the characters that have been introduced in other parts, but I do think that now is the time, once we close out the chapter on the Skywalkers, that you can start pulling the characters from the animated shows that did so well. And you can start introducing new characters because, like we are going to talk about in our special segment, each character that's even been glimpsed for a frame in a movie has a history, and it's a history we would watch.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat. A bunch of people agree with us. I agree. Sure, less is more. Some people were crapping on Solo. We got some Solo haters. Wasn't that bad, I guess. Solo. But yeah, I mean, less is more. It can build anticipation for the next project, but I want all the projects.
We want all the smoke.
All the Star Wars.
All the Star Wars. Yeah, I want them to get on an MCU run, but they need to introduce characters that we love and storylines that we love as well. before
Yes.
that they do that, because the worst thing that could happen, I don't think
What
it's
is it?
possible, is them doing too much and then it becomes sloppy.
Right.
Or they drop off directors, rehire, and finish the movie and somehow put it in the movies still.
Exactly.
Why did that happen?
I think we were scared that people would throw that out there, but then again, Marvel is now at this stage where they're doing 3 movies a year, and it's easy to say, all right, I'm getting a little tired of them. This is too much, but they're still so successful. And it's so commercial. It's so successful. They're guaranteed hits. I think Star Wars, they're trying to be a little more careful with that, and they're venturing out into this really gigantic universe. Like, we thought the MCU was big. Star Wars is gigantic, and the opportunities are endless.
We are the best and biggest galaxy. Before we move on to the next topic, I do want to say what up to people in the chat.
What up?
And people watching us. We love you guys so much. We're going to be here each week bringing you everything that you want to know about Star Wars. If you guys have stuff that you want to talk about, leave a reply in the comments and give us that like on YouTube. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give us those 5 stars. Leave us a review there. We love to see it. We love to keep the conversation going. And
we'll shout you out on air, like Greg Moscovich and Isoto. Ivan's in the chat.
Ivan, what up?
What up, Ivan? Love you guys commenting down below. And yeah, please share your thoughts, and we'll shout you out on air if you give us an iTunes review. Ding.
Okay, this story hurts my heart.
Oh, no.
Just because I will never get over the passing of Carrie Fisher.
Where are the tissues?
Oh, yeah, where are the tissues? So it was announced today, J.J. Abrams had originally planned to have Carrie Fisher as the last Jedi in Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker.
Wow.
Lightsaber and all. Something all of us fans, especially us women Star Wars fans, have been wishing and hoping. I mean, since the first time I saw the movie, I was like, she obviously has the Force is strong with this one. Period. Don't at me. Like, that was known. So, and that was my wish, seeing her with a lightsaber.
I mean, the idea that the way this trilogy has kind of been going is Force Awakens was Han's movie. Last Jedi was Luke's movie, so it would only make sense that Rise of Skywalker would be Leia's film. And unfortunately, Carrie Fisher passed away. And there's that scene in Last Jedi where she does use the Force in space and pulls herself in. And she used the Force in Empire Strikes Back, too, to communicate with Luke. Mm-hmm. So we knew she had this ability. And there's been theories about, Leia was originally supposed to be the Last Jedi. So I really love that was the original take. And I hope that this untimely passing didn't change that story too much, and that they'll be able to honor her in some way. I mean, JJ does say in this article that, he planned on highlighting her in this film, and that it was going to be a payoff.
Yes, I was excited to see that, because this is why the fans love JJ Abrams. He really gets us, and he gets the story. And so even though it wasn't able to go in the direction that originally planned, he will still do it justice. But riddle me this.
Ooh.
Yesterday, and the news broke that we're just going to CGI James Dean as co-starring the film. And I want to know,
is James Dean in the next Star Wars movie?
Great question. But also, I had a problem with that story because I'm like, we're recreating him in a film he wasn't in. I would be more okay with them doing this with Princess Leia. Don't give me that look. Hear me out.
I'm hearing you.
Because this is actually her story. Right. And they've done it before. I don't know. I guess I'm not saying I would have liked them to just force it, even though she's no longer with us. But if we're going to do it with James Dean... Can you just give me one scene with her yielding a lightsaber?
Yielding a lightsaber. I mean, we're opening a bag of eggs.
I can weigh in here. I know I'm not the deepest Star Wars fan, but
the
big difference in this case is the James Dean move feels so disrespectful.
Yes.
And somehow doing this with Carrie Fisher would feel incredibly respectful to me.
Agreed.
And they did do it in Rogue One.
Yeah.
At the end of Rogue One, which was a week after she had passed away. She's at the end of Rogue One. They did do a CGI Leia from 1977, and I thought that really moved me. There's a lot of CGI actually characters in Rogue One, but it's people who passed away and they're ongoing characters.
And they do such a good job.
The James Dean thing, obviously, he's never played this Vietnam War soldier character, so it's a bit of a different circumstance. But I see what you mean. I would like that, and we have heard that JJ's using unused footage, deleted scenes from Force Awakens, and I think Last Jedi in this film. So the way they'll integrate that, I'm really curious. But I wouldn't be that opposed to CGIing a little bit if it's for coverage. If it's like for, all right, let's move her into the scene.
It's just a question.
It's an interesting idea.
I had to throw out there. I think the James Dean thing is bizarre, so I had to tie it in somehow.
Would you be opposed to? So would you be all right with an entire performance or just parts with the already footage we have?
I think really big payoff parts.
With
the footage we had. I think it would be really, I think it's a bizarre concept in general.
Right.
It's just a misuse of technology, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
There's such an amazing amount of talent out there. We don't need to be recreating people.
Right.
With her, it is a 1 in a million type scenario.
Yeah. I definitely think the one person who could do this correctly is J.J. Abrams.
Me too.
And respectfully. And, he's such a huge fan of hers. He's worked with her. I trust him. And J.J. we trust.
True dat.
True dat.
Okay, let's go on to The Mandalorian. There's a few things that have happened, and we are 5 days away. Give me a high five for that one. 5 days away of a show. Just tell me what you told me before we got on air.
This is what we've been waiting for, people! Ever since Lucasfilm bought Disney... ever since Disney bought Lucasfilm in 2013, the idea has been... Star Wars live action TV show. TV is in its heyday. It's never been better. AfterBuzz TV is covering all this amazing content we have. We are in the prime years of television.
Oh, yes.
And the fact that they got Jon Favreau, EPN, making this thing, this is a dream come true. It's not tied to anything. It's going to be its own story. I am so excited, and every other Star Wars fan should be excited for The Mandalorian. We cannot wait, and I would love to break this down.
Yes.
What are the stories we got here, Steph?
So we have... there was an exclusive look at The Mandalorian, a new trailer that came out during the Mayans.
A TV spot, if you will.
A TV spot. And so there wasn't major reveals, but we did... there was something with Werner.
New footage.
Werner Herzog.
Werner Herzog has a few moments.
Called the Client.
He's called the Client. We also saw Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed from Rocky, which I think we got a photo up in there. Yes, he looks awesome. And just the glimpses. This looks beautifully shot. This trailer, it also shows. I think we got Nick Nolte in the trailer. He's in full makeup. I don't know if we have a photo of that one. But yeah, just reaffirming this thing looks incredible. And when it hits Tuesday, oh man.
I'm so excited because I talk about this with you all the time that I think I love movies, but I think the way the streaming networks have just flipped the industry on its back in terms of what they can do with shows.
Right.
Because I'm a character person. I buy into things based on characters, and Star Wars does a phenomenal job of doing that with their movies. But I would have loved to see I would love to see a Rey series. I would love to see a Kylo Ren series. Like, all these characters have so much in it, and only a show can tell a story in such depth.
Right, you can get so into the characters in TV, and as well as binging it. Now, I know this won't be a binge series, but we're getting 2 next week. We're getting one on Tuesday and one on Friday. So I think that 1-2 punch is going to just get us right in here. And yeah, we're going to spend more hours with these characters than we have some of the movie characters.
It's crazy.
Just the sheer runtime.
I'm so excited.
The photos are popping up. But yeah, I cannot wait. That teaser, that TV spot looked amazing, and we got to see his ship. We got to see
and the ship, and apparently the ship matches his personality, and I love that's how they were describing it in an interview. And I'm just so excited to see every moving part of the show. But speaking on characters, we did get a first look at Ming0Na Wen's assassin character from The Mandalorian,
Fennec Shand.
Yes. And she said, we got our inspiration really from the name in terms of how the character was acted. The idea of a fennec fox came to mind. This was an article with Vanity Fair. She says she's tricky, and yet she's able to maneuver and survive and be stealthy. So very graceful and agile. I just love the whole image with the name. As a fellow Asian American woman, I am so excited to see another woman on screen for Star Wars portraying a strong character and one like that I've never seen before.
Totally. And I love what she said about her character there. She even has a line in the trailer where she's talking about the name of the Mandalorian, which we don't know yet, but she says your name will be legendary. So the fact that they're pulling on all these unique elements for the backgrounds of these characters. I mean, back in the original trilogy, Vader is German for father, which is pretty on the nose, but it looks like they're going really deep into some interesting elements with these characters. So she's like a fox, a stealth, maybe a bounty hunter from what we can tell. That's what a lot of bounty hunters kind of act like. I'm really curious to see her character. The cast is crazy. We're going to do a whole
we're
going
to get deeper into a bit. Ming0Na Wen, she's from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's also in Mulan.
Right.
And I'm really, really excited to see what she can do, especially as this character. I love a fierce assassin. I'm really excited about it. But speaking of what you just said, let's get into our Mandalorian preview. We really wanted to talk about the creators because I didn't even realize the lineup of directors for these episodes.
It's kind of unreal.
It's unreal, and it's just so exciting to think about what each of them are going to bring.
Right, so let's break it down.
Yep.
First things first, Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni is George Lucas's Padawan. This is his apprentice. He has been friends and working with George Lucas for decades now, and he's been a part of every animated TV show that's come out in the 2000s. From Star Wars, Clone Wars, Rebels to the current show, The Resistance, he has had a hand in there. He knows more about Star Wars probably than George Lucas does, and he's infamous for wearing his cowboy hat. The dude knows everything, and he's directing the pilot of this show, which I love that pick because this guy knows so much. He gets to establish the tone off the top. He gets to make this live action show. I almost wish he got a movie, but the fact that he gets to do the pilot of the first live action TV show, I thought was such an amazing pick. Cannot wait to see what he does.
So excited.
Dave Filoni. And
we also have Deborah Chow, another Asian American woman. Holla! She will be working on 2 episodes.
2.
It will be 3 and 7. 3 and 7. So excited for that.
And I know a little bit about Deborah Chow.
Give it to me.
I actually had the pleasure of meeting Deborah Chow.
She's the one you teased.
She's the one I teased.
Okay.
I met her back in April through a program, and we got the whole interview, really. So we got to ask her questions about Star Wars. She just finished filming, and she is one of the coolest people I've ever met.
I mean, she looks it. Her resume is insane.
Insane. You got to go on IMDb. She's directed every TV show imaginable. Better Call Saul, Jessica Jones, from Netflix, HBO, Westworld. She's done it all. She is TV royalty. We got an awesome picture of her up here on set.
Oh!
She is a badass. And I got to ask her a few questions about Star Wars, and she was just saying this was the story she told about when she met Jon Favreau, who's executive producing. Her agent was trying to get her in the room at Lucasfilm. She got a call saying, "All right, come in. We'll interview you." She thought it was just going to be like basically an audition to direct. And she was brought into this theater where Jon Favreau had a VR headset, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just checking out a few things. Here, put this on." And when she put the VR headset on, she was on set and got to see an entire environment and where the lights and camera were going to be, which is nuts, first of all, because that's where we're at with technology. You can see a digital set before you're on the physical set. And then Jon Favreau already made up his mind. Huge flex.
That's like, take this or be done forever.
Yeah.
What?
That's like Yoda just moving things out of the way, lifting the ship with one hand.
I had no idea. That's how you get someone on board.
Yeah. And she is perfect for this. Her episode of Better Call Saul is one of the most creative episodes of TV I've ever seen. The first 10 minutes is a split screen, and they show the disintegration of a relationship. She is awesome.
I'm so excited.
And she's already been confirmed to direct episodes for the second season. And because she kicked ass on this.
She's also connected with the Obi-Wan series.
Obi-Wan, yeah, she's just a great, awesome person to have on this crew. And she got 2 episodes. And it's the first female and Asian woman to direct anything Star Wars live action. epic.
You're going to just make me so proud. I mean, while we're at it, why don't you take the trilogy?
Right? She probably
Deborah
should.
Chow for the trilogy. I'm going to, once I see your episodes, I'll really start petitioning that.
Right.
I want to at least put some.
For sure.
Yeah, I got it.
So we got 3 left.
Let's get into it.
Taika Waititi.
Of course.
Name says it for himself. I mean, the dude's from Flight of the Conchords. You know, he did Thor Ragnarok. He did Hunt for the Wilder People, and right now Jojo Rabbit. He's also playing a character, which is, I think it's not IG-88, it's IG-11, but he's going to be a bounty hunter as well. And you know, he played Korg in the Avenger movies. So just an amazing artist and a great addition to this team. Taika, you're awesome.
And having seen Jojo Rabbit, I do think we'll probably see Taika at the Oscars this year. I'm going to put in my bid now. In some
Definitely.
capacity. So now we have Oscar ties to The Mandalorian.
Ooh.
That's my prediction.
Great prediction, Jeffrey C.
prediction
Graham.
with that.
Bryce Dallas Howard, also directing
I'm a
episode.
big Bryce Dallas Howard fan.
You're a stan?
I think she's extremely talented.
Daughter of Ron Howard, who
Yeah.
directed Solo.
Yes.
So there you go. It's in the family.
Yeah, and I'm just curious to see. I'm not that familiar with her director work as
Right.
a director, but as an actress and as an artist, I respect her and I trust her.
And she comes from a family of amazing directors.
Yeah.
And then probably the most unknown name on the list, and forgive me if I mispronounced the last name, but it's Rick Famuyiwa.
I think it's Famuyiwa.
Famuyiwa. Again,
The Shy
TV fame. This guy has the experience. What other? Yeah, The
Shy. He executive produced 20 episodes, and that show is getting a lot of love.
And he did the pilot.
Yeah, the Lost. That was a short. Hassan Minaj's Homecoming King. I love Hassan Minaj. So if you worked on that, I already love you. And Dope, which I actually loved. I loved that movie.
Good.
I loved that movie.
I got a poster at home. It's awesome.
It seems like they're bringing in a really eclectic mix, which this series seems like it will be an eclectic show. So I love this hypes me up more than just seeing the trailers. Like,
Hearts.
What?
Just incredible. Yeah, they have a great team. And adding to that team, the cast.
Yes.
I mean, Pedro Pascal from Game of Thrones, people.
I do want to talk a little bit about this because you sent me this. IMDb did a really cool inside look on him. And I did not know how hard of a worker he has been in this industry and how long it took for him to get where he is, because when you think about him, you're like, oh yeah, I mean, Game of Thrones, what are you talking about? But for a long time, he was a struggling actor. For the first 20 years, he was on TV as either one single episode characters in Buffy, Law and Order, Nurse Jackie, and then he became a reoccurring character in The Good Wife, and then he got Oberyn. And I couldn't believe this because I loved his character so much in Game of Thrones. He was so charismatic and just wonderful. He was only in 6 episodes.
It feels like his presence is there.
Exactly.
He was so likable, and when he, spoilers, perishes, dies, big spoilers, it's horrifying because you liked him so much.
That one took me a while.
Yeah. It's a moment in that series because mostly in part to his acting.
100%.
Yeah. So
100%.
He's the lead. He's the
And then he
Mandalorian.
was also in Narcos. This is where he was a star character in Narcos as a DEA Javier Pena. And Pina. Sorry, guys. I watched the first season of Narcos. I love anything he's in, but I just think he's so talented. He's been in movies since then. Kingsman, The Golden Circle, Equalizer 2, The Great Wall. So he's really up and coming. And then now you have The Mandalorian. Like, what else?
This is your moment, man. And I hope he gets scenes with maybe the helmet off. Like, can we see?
I know.
He might be doing some Judge
He's such
Dredd
a waste
acting.
of that face.
I know.
One thing I love about this too, and I will say about the Star Wars franchise in general, is it's always diverse casting, and it never feels like dutiful diversity. You know, you watch some shows and you're like, oh, this feels like an obligation from the network, and in Star Wars, it feels like such a seamless incorporation of different types of people, which I really like.
Donald Glover said it best when he was asked about the galaxy and the sexuality of Lando. He said, it's space. Like, there are no rules, and that's why it should exist in a galaxy where there is no rules to the race, the color, the whatever it may be. Everyone should look different because it's frickin' space.
There are no rules in love, war, and Star Wars. Guys, looking at you in the chat, Pocket Rocket Raccoon, dope is dope, dope is dope, AF! AF. Pedro Pascal is a hunk. Yes, he is. Everyone loved him in Narcos. Yeah, I mean, everyone's on board with this cast and these directors. I couldn't be more excited. He is an awesome leading man because for a while we just didn't know who was behind that helmet, and now it's Pedro Pascal. Do you want to go into the other cast members?
Absolutely.
So Gene. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Hold on. Strap in, people.
Yeah.
This is the one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay.
Gina Carano. WWE's Gina Carano.
Yes.
There she is.
I don't believe. Can we fact check that, Jeff?
Maybe not WWE.
I think it's UFC.
UFC, sorry.
She's a UFC legend.
We knew it was a 3-lettered acronym.
Yeah.
She's a fighter.
Yes.
She's a fighter. She's extremely athletic, and she does a lot of her own stunts. And I get the appeal of her. We've seen her in Deadpool. We've seen her in Madness in the Method.
Madness in the Method in Haywire.
Starring Popcorn Talk's very own Roxy Stryer.
Roxy Stryer. Crown Jewel.
Yeah, our crown jewel, our queen. So I've seen her a few times, and I love a strong female lead. Trust me. I love to see it. I want to see it. However, what I have seen of her, I have not liked. And this is going to be the most not meaning to be sexist comment ever. When she's not talking.
Oh, goodness.
I like what she's doing on screen.
Right. And hey, listen, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. She might just have not gotten the right role yet. And this could be perfect. I mean, we've seen actors shine in Star Wars and then nothing else. Mm-hmm. And then we've seen actors who are amazing actors and they're put in Star Wars and they're not that great. They're just not a good fit. I am pulling for her. I think she's going to be great. And I love the fact that, as you said, she does her own stunts. She's a badass.
Yeah.
And this might be that role. And I love her in Haywire, which is what you just said. Not a lot of dialogue in Haywire, but that was a great role for her. So I think this could be an amazing role for Gina Carano. I hope she proves us wrong.
Me too.
And we just haven't gotten much of her from the trailers.
I want her to prove me wrong. I trust the casting of this series. I don't think that they would fail us. I think that they're putting so much behind the show that she must have came in and just owned that character.
Right.
She must be that character, and that's what I'm going to go into it thinking.
And I mean, hey, it's Disney, it's Jon Favreau. They don't mess around, and she must be great if she's in this. So I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. Gina Carano as Cara Dune is her character, which we believe is another bounty hunter character. But yeah, Gina Carano, can't wait to see her.
Prove me wrong. I'm excited to see it, Queen.
Werner Herzog, the legendary Werner Herzog, the client, who has been the voiceover for the majority of the content, the trailers we've been getting.
The Client is such a cool name. I want that to be how I'm referred.
When he was at the Client, when he was added to this cast, I think that's what raised the eyebrows. Oh, we got a legend in here. Yeah, I think that just speaks to the quality of television the show will be. They got Werner Herzog, people.
Oh, man.
Werner.
Yes.
Werner.
Well, the thing I love about this, too, is it's not just a legend in the same way that, like, Michael Bay, you could call a legend for all of his films. Like, Werner Herzog is, like, kind of a film snob. And I mean that in the best way.
Right.
He wouldn't be doing... I have to imagine this is going to be a well-written show because...
He doesn't just take a check,
especially to perform. It's such an interesting twist.
Right. He's not in a lot.
Yeah.
And he's been doing a lot of TV lately, though. So the fact that they got him for this, I'm just uber excited about that. And it brings a really sense of seriousness to the entire production. Speaking of serious, Giancarlo Esposito, Gus from Breaking Bad.
I love him.
Oh my gosh.
I love him. I think he is so... Every time I've seen him, I think he does a spectacular job. He has like this weird mystery about each of the characters I've seen him portray, and I'm really, really excited to see what he does in The Mandalorian.
Right, and when we think he's an Imperial officer named Moff Gideon, which is a classic Imperial officer name. Like that just sounds great. I think he's gonna own this. Him as Gus, the villain in 2 of the 5 seasons of Breaking Bad. His presence is just felt due to his acting. He can intimidate you with just a look. And I am thrilled he's in Star Wars universe. I think he might be the main villain or antagonist in this series. We're going to see on Tuesday. But Moff Gideon, Imperial officer, Giancarlo Esposito, incredible. Just another person where you're like, wow, they are getting A-listers for this cast. Another A-lister, in my opinion, Carl Weathers.
I knew you were going to him next.
Ding, ding. Apollo Creed, Steph. Rocky is my favorite film of all time, shortly followed by Empire Strikes Back. They got Apollo Creed in Star Wars.
Or Toy Story 4 in Star Wars.
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah. I when I look at the cast and just the level of talent that we have, the level of diversity that we have, and I'm not even just saying that in the outside looks, I'm saying in terms of the works each of them have done, it's exciting to see. And it's interesting to see. It's, like I said, it's an eclectic mix.
An eclectic mix, to say the least, and I think they're getting stars from all walks of life.
And not the obvious picks. Like, they're not picking, and this is what's so cool about Star Wars. They don't need to pick. A lot of times we're seeing movies now are picking influencers or people who aren't like truly engulfed in just acting and creating. They just have a lot of clout behind them. And
Right.
I would have been so disappointed if they did that with this show, and they didn't. They went for the people that I think are really going to be perfect for the characters they're representing.
Couldn't have said it better myself. You're absolutely right. I think, when you get this level of talent, it is story first, and let's get the correct people. And I think it would be weird if they got a major A-lister. If Leonardo DiCaprio was in this show, look, I'd still watch it, but it would kind of throw me off a little.
Yeah, I'm like, you don't belong in this realm.
I
sir.
think people can really make another name for themselves on this show. And just someone like Carl Weathers, who hasn't had a major role in quite a few years. I mean, he is Apollo Creed, and he's also he's Chubbs in Happy Gilmore. That is it. Plastic hand and all. I think, so this could be another classic character for him. And I mean, there's so many other stars. We already mentioned Taika Waititi, who's playing a droid.
Each week, AfterBuzz, our sister network, like we said, as new characters are introduced week by week, we will break down those characters and the actors behind those characters. So let's get into our first special segment.
Yes, let's move on to them. So there's a theory. Put on your glasses. No, Jeff, not words of wisdom quite yet. But there's a theory.
The theory was the wisdom, guys.
No, the wisdom comes at the end.
No, this isn't wisdom at all. It's all rumors.
Rumors.
Which we do. There we go.
So there's a... Do you want to go first, Steph?
No, you go first.
Okay. There's a theory. There's a theory that in the latest Rise of Skywalker trailer, it was the quote-unquote final trailer, when we have that close-up of C-3PO, and he goes, "Just taking one last look, sir, at my friends." And everyone's just crying their eyes out as he says that, because you're like, what's going to happen to 3PO? Yeah. There's a theory that we might get a montage of C-3PO's memory from the past 9 movies. He's been here all along. C-3PO and R2 are in every single film.
Loyal he is.
Episode-wise, loyal he is. And he has a memory bank. And at the end of Revenge of the Sith, they do erase his memory. They don't erase R2's, but they erase his memory. I think it would be epic. Epic. If they showed a montage of all of his memories from the past 9 movies, and somehow some information within all those memories, all those experiences 3PO has had with all these amazing characters from the pantheon of the Star Wars mythos that would pertain to some storyline in episode 9 and them getting to the Emperor.
Wow.
So there's a theory where we might get an awesome montage. That's the theory.
I love me a good montage.
Love me a good montage. Like Jeff C. Graham loves a good cardigan.
Okay, strap in for this one. There's a theory. So, there's a theory that time travel will be used in Rise of the Skywalker.
Rise of the Skywalker.
So, Shmi.
Okay.
One of the most confusing characters, Anakin's mother. There's a theory that Shmi and Rey are the same person. Bear with me now. So this would mean that time travel would have to exist.
Wow.
It has been introduced in Star Wars Rebels, never in the movies, but in Rebels, when Ezra Bridger, a character in Star Wars Rebels, goes through a world between worlds.
Bridges, if you will.
Exactly. Palpatine is there. He cannot enter, but he is able to use some sort of power.
To go through time.
It. Yeah, he uses the Force somehow through it. Okay?
Yeah.
But he's in the Jedi. It's a Jedi temple portal. Palpatine couldn't go through it, but he's able to use it. If you look at the side by side between Shmi and Rey, there is a uncanny similarity going on, and I'm not sure. So the theory is that Palpatine manipulated the Force to conceive a child in Shmi's womb, being Anakin. Creepy, yes, just like Palpatine. So Palpatine, we know, killed Darth Plagueis.
Right.
He was the one who was introduced to Anakin when Anakin was confused on whether he should go dark or light because he wanted to save...
He was wildin'.
Yeah, he was wildin' out. And so he killed Darth Plagueis, Palpatine did, and Darth Plagueis possessed the power to manipulate midichlorians.
Bring people back to life.
And create life. So...
He could cheat
The
death.
theory is, in a roundabout way, that Palpatine did all of this for Rey to come into fruition in this movie for some purpose to close the time loop that was created originally.
Boom! Love it, Jeff.
Anytime there's time work, I get so confused, and I'm just trying to tell you what the theory was. Thanks for bearing with me.
I'm on board with some of it. I think it's a reach. It's a reach. Like, Shmi and Rey do look similar. It's a little odd. It's a little weird. They do look similar. But Shmi is so clueless in... I just cannot see... there would have to be a lot of explaining to do.
Also, the similarity is there. But if Rey is just kicking butt in all these movies and being like the most forceful character that we've seen in so long and just so utterly talented, only to become Shmi, who does nothing.
It's crazy.
I would be so pissed.
I would, that would be kind of nuts. And she would technically be Luke's grandmother.
Yes.
Should we go to the character corner?
Yeah. On that note,
quick character corner. Today we're focusing on Sidon Ithano, who is this gentleman in right there. He has a red helmet. He kind of looks like an Imperial Guard / bounty hunter. We see him for 3 seconds in Force Awakens, but he has a background. He is known as a Red Raider, a Blood Buccaneer, if you will, a Crimson Corsair.
Interesting.
And he's equally parts Boba Fett as he is the Imperial Guard. 100% badass, really. But fun fact, his helmet comes from the space race of people that General Grievous from Revenge of the Sith comes from. He became half cyborg, so he is from the same people that Grievous was before he became mostly machine, which is an interesting race. It's the Sidon race for Star Wars. So hopefully we can get some more screen time with him in the future. I think it'd be really cool if his character kind of popped up in Mandalorian because it's believed he is a bounty hunter. So that was the character corner for this week.
Wow, thank you.
And
do you want close us off with some words of wisdom?
Words of wisdom, let it be.
Dun, 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 dun. Yes, so the word of wisdom, y'all. We're going to quote Yoda for this week.
Great.
It's been a big week. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. And hate leads to suffering.
A bar.
So don't be afraid out there, okay? Be brave. And walk into this weekend, really, with all the bravery you got. And that'll keep you on the light side of the Force.
Hoorah! Hell yeah. Love it. That's all the time we have. I'm Steph Sabraw. You can find me at Steph Sabraw on Instagram and Twitter. Ryan Nilsen.
I'm Rian Nilsen. You can find me at Rian Nilsen on Twitter. That's RY Nilsen on Twitter, and at Rian Nilsen _ on Instagram. So psyched to be talking Star Wars with y'all. This has been such a long time coming. It was such an honor to be here with Steph, co-piloting this Millennial Falcon.
Woo!
Boom! We cannot wait for next week and The Mandalorian in 5 days.
Yes. Until then, Chewie, get us out of here.
Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.